Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There are seasons in life that can feel like one long, arduous journey, where every step seems heavier than the last, and no matter how much you press forward, it feels as if the ground is slipping away from beneath you. Perhaps you have been in such a season where the weight of expectation, the weight of pressure, and the weight of simply existing has felt endless. But please hear this, the end of that struggle is near. A higher purpose never designed your life to be a perpetual war. It was designed with valleys and with mountaintops, with battles and with breakthroughs. Every storm has a natural conclusion. Every season of struggle eventually closes. And you, at this very moment, are standing closer than you have ever been to peace breaking through. Here is a truth that most people do not realize. Many times, the deepest source of our struggles is not just what happens to us, but how we view life itself. Imagine this. Someone convinces themselves that life only holds value if they live in a grand mansion, if their success takes a certain form, or if they achieve the markers that society presents as enough. What happens in such a case? Joy becomes a rare visitor because their baseline for happiness is set so high that they miss the quiet beauty that has been present all along. Now, imagine that same person with the exact same life, but their baseline for joy rests in hearing the birds sing outside their window, in offering thanks for a warm meal, or in the simple blessing of being able to walk freely. Suddenly, almost everything in life feels good, because their eyes are open to what is already present, not just what is absent. This is not about lowering your dreams or refusing to grow. It is about remembering the true meaning of abundance. Society has diluted the definition of a dream life with screens, noise, and comparison. But heaven's definition of abundance is different. Abundance is not just about what you might gain tomorrow. It is about what you recognize today. And this is why so many people live in a state of constant struggle, even when they have a roof above them and a table that is filled. It is because their eyes are locked on what the world says is missing, rather than on the blessings that have already been woven into their days. But when you pause, when you let the noise fall silent, and when you peel back the expectations that have been placed upon you, you notice something powerful. A higher power has been directing your life all along. Every leaf that falls, every sunrise that breaks the horizon, every breath you take, none of it is by accident. And when you take your eyes off of what you think is lacking and place them on what is already here, the struggle begins to loosen its grip. This does not mean you stop striving, stop dreaming, or stop reaching for more. It means you no longer measure your worth by what you do not yet have. You live in joy while you grow. You walk in peace while you climb. That is where the struggle begins to end. Not when the outside world changes, but when your spirit realigns with the truth of how much you have already been given. And here is another truth. The blessings of a higher power are not random drops that fall only once in a while. They are a constant stream, always flowing and always available. The difference is this: some people place themselves in that stream through trust, faith, and surrender. Others spend their whole lives trying to figure everything out with only their own minds. And that never works, because the mind alone cannot carry the mysteries of a divine story. But you belong to the first group. You have been learning, step by step, how to trust, how to release the obsession with figuring everything out, and instead to place yourself within the flow of that divine stream. And that is why heaven is saying, the end of the struggle is near for you. Think of it like this: when a butterfly has finished its time in the cocoon, the shell can no longer hold it. The walls that once protected it must now break. That is where you are. The season that shaped you is complete, and heaven itself is demanding that your wings unfold. Your struggle was never meant to be permanent. It was only a preparation. The winds are quieting, the rain is slowing, and what you thought might last forever is already breaking apart. Remember, the struggle is not your definition. It is not the name that heaven calls you by. It was a chapter, and that chapter is now closing. You are stepping into a new alignment, where peace is louder than pressure, where gratitude opens the door to joy, and where trust places you directly within the flow of divine blessing. The end of the struggle is near, and soon you will not just believe it, you will feel it. There is something sacred about the moment you are in. You may not feel it yet, but heaven does, because what you have been carrying is not light, and still, you have carried it. You have pressed forward when most would have collapsed, and that is why this message is reaching you now. Let us be honest about the nature of struggle. It is not just about circumstances. It is not only about unpaid bills or unanswered prayers. Struggle also lives in the mind, the constant wrestling, the self-questioning, the heaviness of wondering if you will ever see a breakthrough. That is what drains the soul the most, not the storm outside, but the storm within. And yet, here you are. You have made it through countless mornings when your body wanted to stay in bed. You have shown up when your heart was fractured. You have kept walking when fear told you to freeze. That resilience is not invisible. It is recorded in heaven. But perhaps you have wondered, if a higher power loves me, why has it been so hard? That question is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of honesty. And the answer is this: the struggle was never the whole story. It was only the shaping ground. And yes, it is perfectly all right to feel tired sometimes, but the beauty is that even in your restlessness, you have continued to trust that every part of your life carries its own necessity. Think about the butterfly again. If you were to cut open the cocoon prematurely, the butterfly would never develop the strength to fly. The pressure of pushing against the walls is what builds its wings. Your struggle was not there to destroy you. It was building you for the flight that is about to unfold. And now, because the shaping season is complete, the walls can no longer hold you. The struggle can no longer define you. You are breaking through into the light. Here is something else to hold on to. Divine blessings are not waiting to suddenly begin in the future. They have always been flowing. Always. The stream has never stopped. But when the struggle consumes us, we can forget to step into that stream. We start to believe that the blessing has been delayed, when in truth it has always been present, but our eyes were fixed only on the lack. This is why gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing which reality to magnify. We can stare at what is missing until our soul starves, or we can turn our attention toward what is already here and realize that a higher power has been feeding us all along. Think about it. How many mornings have you woken up when you thought you had no strength left? How many times did the path open just when you thought it was over? How many small mercies have held you, merely breathing, eating, walking, and being kept alive? Then that is a blessing. That is the stream. And your trust is what keeps you in it. Some people spend their entire lives trying to make sense of everything with logic alone. They treat life like a puzzle, believing that if they just think harder, they will figure out the pattern. But life is not solved by the brain. It is lived by the spirit. That is why trust matters. Trust does not mean you stop moving. Trust means you stop trying to strangle life with control. It means you lean into the knowing that a higher power directs every tide that shifts and every star that lights the night. If it tends to creation at that level of detail, how much more is it tending to you? And you, my dear friend, have been stepping into that trust slowly, quietly, and faithfully. That is why your struggle cannot continue as it has. You have already shifted. You are already aligned with the stream. Heaven has already marked your release. But let me also say this with clarity. This is not just about ending your external struggle. It is about ending the internal one. Because the heaviest chains are not the bills, the closed doors, or the rejections. The heaviest chains are the beliefs that whispered, maybe I will never get out. Maybe this is just who I am. Maybe my life is just one struggle after another. That lie is breaking right now. Heaven is saying your story is not about struggle. Your story is about redemption. Your story is about divine alignment. Your story is about wings opening after a long period of darkness. Picture this, the darkest night, finally softening into dawn. The sky has not fully cleared yet, but you can see the first streak of light stretching across the horizon. That is where you are. Not in an endless night, and not yet in the full light of day, but right at the moment where the night loses its power. And soon, that light will not just touch the horizon, it will fill the whole sky. That is the life that is waiting for you, not a life where everything is perfect, but a life where joy and peace meet you daily. So, lift your eyes. The season of endless climbing is closing. The cocoon is breaking. The tide is turning. The dawn is rising. The end of the struggle is near. And soon, you will see what peace feels like when it is not temporary, but is rooted in the divine itself. And when you step into that peace, you will realize something profound. The struggle was never your identity. It was only the soil. And from that soil, something sacred is about to bloom. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. I will see you there.